What's up? What it do? Okay, so today's verse is coming from Micah 6 and verse 8. He hath showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. Let me say that again. He hath showed thee, O man, what is good. And what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God? Now, I read the whole chapter, and I kind of read like the chapters before and after just to get an idea of what the context is of this script, of this verse. Now, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like he was talking about the children of Israel. I can't talk today. Anyway, the children of Israel, and the fact that when they were brought out of Egypt, they was basically doing anything they wanted. They were doing everything, okay? They had like these false idols, and they were just doing a bunch of crazy stuff. And so that's why Moses had to go up on the mountain and go get the 10 Commandments. God had to set some boundaries. He's sitting there seeing them do all this crazy stuff. He's like, oh, no. We need some rules. So that's why Moses went and got the commandments. And it even says in this chapter, in the beginning, says, I even brought you out of Egypt. I gave you Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. What are you doing? And if you read the chapter, he says, like, how people are scheming and scamming other people, even the elderly. People are just doing crazy stuff like this. It was insane. And so God is sitting there saying, like, okay, wow, like, I did all this stuff for you. I gave you Moses, I gave you Aaron, I gave you Miriam. Like, I showed you what is good, like, and what do I require of you but to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly? Like, that's all I require of you. Like, why are you tripping? And so basically that kind of just goes back to what I was saying yesterday, just a little bit about all these, like, religious rules that were put in place by these institutions, by the churches and all that stuff, thinking that, we have to go to church every Sunday, and that means that we're saved, and that means that we're going to go to heaven. Or, we have to pray to a priest, and that means that God's going to answer our prayers. And if that doesn't happen, then God's not listening, which is the furthest thing from the truth. And God's sitting here saying, like, wow, like, all these people, all these men are just sitting here lying in the streets, like, deceiving others, like, you know what I'm saying? And then he says that the wicked's riches are sitting in the wicked house. What do you want me to do? Count the weight of their gold, count their riches with wicked balances? Like, you want me to scam them too? Like, what is going on? And he's like sitting there like, I already showed you what's good, and I'm not asking for more than you to just do justly. You know what I'm saying? Love mercy, and to walk humbly. Like, is that too much to ask? And apparently it is too much. Which is so sad. Because I feel like a lot of people think that kind of a life is boring. Like, oh yeah, doing just all the time is just so boring. Or, oh yeah, being fair is just the worst. Or like, oh yeah, being kind and not cussing someone out, showing mercy is just so boring. Like, people really want to get into fights. People want to get cussed out. People want to cuss people out. People want to just do crazy stuff. And it's so mind-boggling to me. It just really is that, like, a life of peace and abundance and happiness is just frowned upon. And it's just kind of weird. Like, why do you want to be angry? Why do you want to be, like, upset, hurt, struggling? Anyway, that's just never made any sense to me. So I love this verse just for that simple fact, because that's all God's asking. It's right here. That's all He's asking, just to do just, love, mercy, and to walk humbly. Like, goodness gracious, like, He knows we're gonna fail. He knows we are human, and He knows that our flesh is a lot more tempting than anything else. So we gotta really do our best to say, hey, you know what? There's no need to fight. Hey, you know what? There's no need to argue. Hey, you know what? There's no need to think bad things about that person, because I really don't know them like that. Okay, so let me just mind my business, give them a smile, brighten up their day a little bit and go about my way. Let's be humble about this, because, like I said, we are all human. And at the end of the day, we all want to be happy. So, you have to play your part. You have to, well, not play your part, do your part. It's all about doing. It's all about being. Be the change you want to see. For real, though. Be the change. Because at the end of the day, people are still going to do what they want to do regardless. So it takes you looking in the mirror and saying, you know what? Let's just do just things, Let me love mercy and have mercy on other people, because I'm sure glad that God had mercy on me, or is having it and has, and all that stuff. Mercy on me. And be humble. Walk humbly with God, because, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. They're not perfect. He's not perfect. She's not perfect. All of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? And the only perfect one is God. So, He's the only one I really am honestly going to listen to. And He's the only one whose opinion I care about. So, you know what I thought about? Movies. Particularly the action movies. Like, I'm a big action movie fan. Okay, and so a theme that I also noticed is within these movies is, like, what's that one movie? I don't know, oh shit, I can't think of it, but, the ones where it's like the guy, the one with, oh lord, what's his name? From The Office, my favorite. I can't think of his name right now, but Michael Scott from The Office and Tina Fey, and they go on a date. It was like date night, movie night, some shit. And, they have this, like, crazy action-packed adventure, like, together, like, on a date. And, it helped them to realize that they still love each other and blah, 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 blah. Because, usually they would live their boring lives, like, doing what? Working or not working, or I think they had just scheduled that date night, like, randomly. I can't remember the movie, but I remember the theme of it was them having a whole action-packed adventure together, because it took them away from their boring life for a few hours. Okay? And so what was their boring life? They're working, taking care of their kids, and basically that's it. I don't know. I guess that's boring. But I feel like that's a lot of a theme within these movies, that, a boring life. I just want to, have you heard this before? I just want to have a boring life. Where, like, nobody's chasing them, and they're they're doing well in their community, and, whatever else they imagine themselves doing. Aside from robbing people, hurting people, killing people, and all of that great stuff. So I feel like movies are a huge, well, I know that they are a huge influence to how we think and what we view as boring or not, or whatever it is, fashionable, like, whatever. Movies, music, all of that stuff. So it just goes back to the fact that our flesh is basically our weakest, okay? And the things that we consume, it just heavily influences us to think a certain way and to be a certain way. And, with all these movies and music and stuff that we listen to, it's like, of course we're going to be more geared toward thieving and geared toward doing bad things and sinning and all this crazy stuff, right? Scamming people and all that crazy stuff, right? So, of course, we're going to be geared toward it, but we also have to just recognize that, hey, that's not normal, that's weird. Like, Because I know when things have been done to me, I didn't like it. So maybe this perpetual promotion of all these horrible things is not good. And since everything has two sides, there's two sides to everything. Maybe the good side to these movies is showing that, hey, maybe a boring life, for what you perceive to be boring, isn't necessarily boring. It's more fulfilling. And so I feel like maybe we should replace that word. But you do what you want. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna replace it with it's fulfilling, not necessarily boring, because things happen regardless of what you're doing. Okay, it's more fulfilling. That's just how I look at it. Okay. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Bye. Yeah.